Hello everyone, it's Shannon here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm super excited to be joining Honeybee Stamp's Rainbow Dreams video blog hop. In today's video, we're going to create this fun rainbow shaker card. We're going to start this card with the Rainbow Accents Honey Cuts. I'm going to use this die right here in the center. This die will actually cut out the arches for your rainbow. I'm going to die cut it out of two A2 panels. First a white A2 panel and then a blue heavyweight cardstock A2 panel. I'm going to save my white arches but not my blue ones, and then I'm going to take these two panels with this basically a rainbow window die cut out of them, line them up. I want to make sure the rainbow arches are all lined up with each other, and then I'm going to take my scissors and trim off any overhang of the white cardstock. It just seemed to be a little bit off, so I'm just going to trim it according to that blue panel, because that blue panel is going to be our top panel. So I want to make sure that white one is hiding underneath. So I'm just trimming off anywhere you can kind of see it sticking out. So now that we have our two panels trimmed and our arches cut, I'm going to move on to ink blending the arches. So I just have the white arches here, and I'm quickly ink blending them with several distress inks, starting out with Picked Raspberry for the largest arch. Then I moved on to Candied Apple for the next largest. Then Wild Honey for the middle arch. I'm kind of skipping orange this time and using kind of this orange yellow color. Then moving on to Mowed Lawn for my green arch, and then I'll finish with that last arch ink blending it in Mermaid Lagoon. So just a quick easy blend on those 5 arches, and we have a pretty rainbow when we're done. Now we're going to move on to the Rainbow Builder A2 card base. So this is a different die set, and it comes with these dies to create a sun and a couple clouds. So I just went ahead and die cut those out of some white cardstock, and now I'm going to quickly ink blend them, starting with the clouds and a little bit of Tumbled Glass. Just going to ink blend the bottom of those clouds to add a little bit of shading and shape. Once I finish my clouds, I'll then move on to the sun. I do want to create a gradation over the sun, so I'm going to start with a light yellow. First is Squeeze Lemonade. Just going to ink blend mainly the center and on out, not worrying about too much of the rays. And then I ink blended a little bit of Wild Honey to create that little gradation. Now we're actually going to trim down the sun. So I'm going to line it up or hold it up on this panel where I want it. Once I get it in the right position, I'll then grab a piece of low-tack tape just to hold it in place, flip it over, trace that arch, and that will help me to know where to cut, and I'll just cut along that pencil line, and now we have that perfectly cut sun to fit around our rainbow. We're now going to move on to die cutting our dimension for the shaker card. We need a lot of dimension because I'm going to actually use some seed beads for this. One of our layers is going to be this adhesive foam layer from Deco foil. I just cut an A2 panel here, and I'm going to run it through with that die from the Rainbow Accents, the same die we used to die cut our panels. Now I have an A2 panel of craft foam, and I'm going to die cut that also with that rainbow die. So 2 layers of foam here. You could use the same types of foam, but I found that craft foam is a little bit thick, and I didn't like it doubled up. So I'm using this Deco foil foam because it's a little bit thinner, so it doesn't seem as bulky as a card. Now I just took that blue panel, which is our guide, placed it over the Deco foil and the craft foam panels that I die cut, and then I'm just cutting off any of the foam that is kind of poking out beyond that panel, just trimming off any overhang essentially. And I do want to point out, I make sure to line up the arches in the rainbow with the arches that were die cut into those 2 foam layers. Now we're ready to move on to kind of inlaying our arches. So I'm going to line up my 2 panels again, my cardstock, white cardstock panel and my blue cardstock panel. I used a little piece of tape to kind of hold these 2 in place, and then I'm going to add some liquid adhesive to the backside of the white panel. Now I'm going to take these 2 panels and then place them onto, or glue, really only gluing the white one down right now. Glue the white one down to the front of an A2 top folding white card base turned on its side. The whole reason why I had those 2 panels kind of held together is to make sure I can get that arch perfectly centered. So I just made sure, now I'm just making sure all of that whole panel is glued down, and then I'm going to add some glue inside those negative openings of that panel to glue in these arches. So I'm just inlaying here those arches that I ink blended earlier. And once I get those done, I'll be ready to kind of put together our shaker card. So that is all ready to go. I have my first layer of foam here. This is actually the craft foam layer. You could start with either one. I'm removing the inner parts. They kind of just stayed in before and I just left them in because it's easier to work with. Added some liquid adhesive to the backside of this craft foam panel, and now I'm just going to stick it on, lining up those craft foam arches with the arches on the panel as well. Once I get that all lined up, I'm ready. Just going to put some weight on it to let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to move on to creating my top panel. I just want to wait before I add that second layer of foam. Just let it set up a little bit. So I just added liquid adhesive to the backside of that blue cardstock panel, and I'm now just gluing down an A2 panel of acetate. So that's kind of just our topper for our shaker card. I'm going to put that aside, and now we'll move on to that second layer of foam. This is the Deco foil foam. It is an adhesive foam, so I'm just removing the backing on the adhesive, or at least on one of the sides. Once I get it removed, I'll then be able to stick it down onto our card front here, and this will double up that dimension and make these wells nice and deep so our seed beads move beautifully in this shaker card. So we now have our wells ready, so we're ready for our shaker components. And again, it's these seed beads and a rainbow of seed beads. But before I add them, I am going to apply some anti-static powder all over the front of the shaker card. That's just going to help to remove any of the adhesive that might be kind of on the sides of our craft foam and make those beads stick a little bit. So just that little bit of anti-static powder helps a lot. And now I'm just filling up these arches a little bit with these seed beads. And once I get this filled, I'll then carefully remove the final backing on my foam adhesive so it's nice and super sticky. And then I'll grab my top panel here, the blue with the acetate on it, and just stick it down to kind of seal up our shaker card. Now I'll hold it to the camera so you can see those seed beads in there. This is a really fun surprise and kind of interactive card, and I love the little sparkle that the seed beads add to the background. Now I have this sentiment here that I created with the Look for Rainbows stamp set and matching die. I did heat emboss them in white embossing powder and then die cut them out with the matching dies. Now I'm just going to quickly finish this card by first adhering my clouds down to the bottom of the rainbow. Then I'll add my little sun to that upper left corner, and then we'll finish this card with that heat embossed sentiment, starting with the rainbow. I'm going to place that actually over our rainbow a little bit, but since the die cuts really nice and tight around the letters, it doesn't obstruct too much of that rainbow, I feel. And then we'll finish up with this little sub sentiment here right above our word die cut. So, and that will actually finish the card. I'll hold it up here to the camera so you can get a good look at all the details in this fun rainbow shaker card. I really love creating shaker cards where there's different chambers for your shaker elements that allows you to do different colors. And if you notice, we use like those rainbow array of seed beads, and I just think that's a fun element, a fun different way to approach a shaker card. I hope you guys enjoyed today's card and video. Make sure you check out the other videos in today's hop and leave those comments for opportunities to win the giveaway. Thank you so much for watching and hope you have a wonderful day.